Imagine a mystery that seems to defy logic. In today's story, we step into the curious case of a bank vault that vanished into thin air. Welcome to Curell Case Files, where we explore the real stories behind unsolved crimes. Stories filled with surprising twists and a lot more questions than answers. This particular mystery, known as the Vanishing Vault, unfolded at the First Commonwealth Bank in Louisville, Kentucky, during the spring of 1981. It's one of those cases where everything looks ordinary on the surface. A routine audit, a reliable bank, and impenetrable vaults. Yet something extraordinary happened that left investigators scratching their heads. The vault, known as Vault C, was purpose-built to secure high-value, long-term deposits. It once held cash, bearer bonds, and unregistered securities totaling nearly $3 million. And yet, when employees later inspected the space during an audit, they found it completely empty. There were no signs of forced entry or tampering. The vault was open, its locks unbroken, and its contents simply gone. The elegance of the bank's security systems only deepened the intrigue, as nothing appeared amiss from the outside. Today, we'll take you through every twist and turn of this fascinating case, from the unassuming bank in Louisville to the meticulous investigation that followed, and from the profiles of key personnel to the theories that emerged to explain the mystery. Throughout our journey, we will reconnect with the critical details and examine the evidence with practical clarity. This is a story of a crime that challenges logic and invites each of us to consider how even the best-designed security systems might hide vulnerabilities that defy explanation. Absolutely intriguing mystery. Louisville, Kentucky is a city steeped in rich history and Southern charm. In the spring of 1981, the city buzzed softly with life as the scent of blooming magnolias mingled with the hum of urban modernity. Against this picturesque backdrop stood the First Commonwealth Bank, a long-standing institution admired for its vintage marble floors and dignified architecture. This bank was much more than a financial establishment. It was a community landmark, representing trust, reliability, and decades of service. Inside the bank's solid, time-worn walls, there was a hidden gem called Inventory Vault C. This vault wasn't used for everyday transactions, but was instead reserved for high-value assets that required long-term safekeeping. Here, cash, bearer bonds, and unregistered securities, totaling nearly $3 million, were stored with utmost care. The vault was constructed in 1928 and later reinforced during a comprehensive remodel in the 1950s. Its walls of reinforced concrete, measuring over 4 feet thick, and a triple lock system that combined physical keys with a rotating security code made it a veritable fortress. Every element of the bank, from the polished marble reception to the discreet corridors leading to the vault, spoke of tradition and meticulous security. The bank maintained detailed logs and enforced strict entry protocols to ensure that only authorized personnel could access this prized area. Advanced monitoring equipment, state-of-the-art for its time, was installed throughout the basement to record every movement and protect the vault. Yet, despite these robust measures, a subtle vulnerability lay hidden in plain sight. On that fateful spring day, the ordinary routines of Louisville's trusted bank were about to be disrupted. In a city known for its legacy of dependability, the sudden and unexplained emptiness of Vault C would soon become the subject of both public fascination and deep investigative scrutiny. The reliable rhythms of everyday banking life were shattered by an anomaly that no one could quite understand, setting the stage for one of the most perplexing mysteries in the region's history. It all began on a seemingly ordinary day. A day scheduled for a routine audit, not for uncovering a mystery of epic proportions. Two bank employees, following their regular inspection procedures, made their way to Inventory Vault C. What they found was unexpected and unsettling. Instead of encountering the familiar sight of secured valuables, they were met with an empty room and a vault left open, its contents completely missing. The sudden realization that Vault C, a place designed to safeguard nearly $3 million, was completely empty, sent immediate ripples of shock through the bank. There were no signs of a break-in, no frantic scrambling or scattered paperwork, and no evidence to suggest that the vault's formidable locks or thick walls had been compromised. The cold, silent interior of the vault stood in stark contrast to the vibrant, busy world of banking operations just a few floors above. Every item that had once been carefully stored, cash, bonds, and securities, had vanished without a trace. The absence of any physical disturbance turned what should have been a secure environment into a puzzle that baffled everyone on the spot. Supervisors quickly documented the scene, their confusion mounting as they searched for a clue that could explain the inexplicable loss. A sense of eerie calm settled over the area, with one unspoken question hanging in the air. Had the money truly disappeared, or was this a case of mistaken records? The discovery of an empty vault, void of any conventional evidence of theft, transformed this routine audit into a mystery of monumental proportions. The silence in that empty vault was not just physical, it was filled with layers of unanswered questions that would soon lead to an intensive investigation. The stage was now set for a case that promised to test the limits of logical explanation. In the aftermath of the startling discovery, the investigation was launched with determined urgency and precision. Led by Detective Warren McKee, a former military man known for his no-nonsense approach and sharp analytical skills, the investigation delved into every detail of the case. McKee's first steps were methodical. He reviewed the bank's extensive security logs and scrutinized all available records to piece together a timeline of events that might explain the mysterious emptiness of Vault C. A key piece of the investigation involved the bank's security footage. The detective examined the motion-activated cameras installed in the basement, expecting to see signs of unauthorized movement or suspicious activity around the vault. Instead, the footage presented an unnerving portrait of calm. There was simply no evidence of anyone entering or leaving the vault area, not on the day of the discovery, nor any time in the months leading up to it. The cameras, designed to capture even the slightest motion or heat signature, had recorded nothing out of the ordinary. The very construction of Vault C became a focal point as well. Built in 1928 and later reinforced during the 1950s, the vault was a marvel of secure engineering. Its walls of over 4 feet thick concrete, along with the triple lock system requiring 2 physical keys and a rotating security code, made any notion of forced entry seem almost laughable. Despite this reputation for impenetrability, the vault's contents had vanished without any trace of physical disturbance. No scratches, no tool marks, and no fingerprints beyond those of routine authorized entries. Even when a respected external security consultant examined the scene, the results were the same. That vault was more secure than the U.S. Mint. There's no way anyone got in without detection. Every conceivable method of bypassing the vault's advanced security systems was painstakingly ruled out. From thermal disruptions to cut wires and tampered seals, the investigation found nothing that could explain the mystery. As Detective McKee and his team hunted for clues, they began to suspect that perhaps the answer lay not in an external breach, but in an extraordinary internal anomaly. Every piece of evidence pointed back to the vault's construction and its meticulous record-keeping. Yet nothing could ever be fully reconciled with the sheer vanishing of millions in assets. The deeper the investigation went, the more elusive the truth became, leaving behind a trail of questions that continued to baffle both the bank and the law enforcement community. When an anomaly of this magnitude occurs, attention quickly turns to those with special access. In the case of the Vanishing Vault, 3 employees naturally came under close scrutiny. First among them was Paul Timmons, the branch manager, who had dedicated over 22 years of his professional life to the bank. Paul was known for his reliable nature and unchanging routine. He sported the same gray suit every Monday, drove an old '74 Buick, and had maintained a spotless record throughout his career. His reputation for dependability made him all the more surprising as a person of interest in a case where nothing seemed to fit the usual profile of a criminal mastermind. Next in line was Denise Coulter, the senior accountant. Denise was famous for her meticulous attention to detail and strict adherence to the bank's policies. Her habit of double-checking records and even reporting minor procedural mishaps earned her respect, as well as a reputation for being unyieldingly honest. Living alone and rarely engaging in office gossip, she was one of the most straightforward employees at the bank. Yet, her involvement in a case that demanded every shred of precision meant even she could not escape suspicion entirely. Rounding out the trio was Harold Hal Jenkins, the facilities officer responsible for maintaining the bank's infrastructure. Hal had been in charge of the vault's humidity sensors, a task he'd performed diligently just 6 months before the incident. His technical expertise and intimate knowledge of the bank's inner workings positioned him as someone who could have, in theory, exploited his familiarity with the vault's systems. Despite his indispensable role, no direct evidence was ever found linking him to the disappearance. Each of these 3 employees had rock-solid alibis confirmed by polygraph tests, detailed financial audits, and thorough background checks. Their personal records and day-to-day activities did not reveal any motive to orchestrate a heist of this magnitude. Instead, the simultaneous scrutiny of all 3 raised even more questions. If none of them had the means or motive to remove such vast assets, who or what was truly responsible for the vanishing vault? The focus on these trusted insiders ultimately deepened the mystery, as the investigation failed to tie any one individual directly to the disappearance. When a case refuses to fit into neat categories, a cascade of theories and speculations naturally follows. In the months after the discovery, several possibilities emerged, each attempting to fill the gap left by an absence of clear evidence. The first theory, commonly dubbed the inside phase-out, proposed that the funds were siphoned off gradually, in tiny, almost unnoticeable increments. Proponents argued that the money might have been removed slowly over an extended period, well before the more advanced surveillance systems came into play. However, detailed review of the bank's logs revealed that Vault C had been accessed only a handful of times in the preceding 18 months, making sustained, incremental theft highly improbable. Another popular notion was the so-called phantom access theory. This idea posited that someone had managed to replicate or manipulate the bank's sophisticated security credentials. The suggestion was that an individual with exceptional technical know-how could maneuver around even the most sensitive motion detectors, perhaps operating under conditions of near-total darkness. Nevertheless, a thorough investigation into the capabilities of the bank's sensors, designed to detect any change in heat, motion, or light, disproved the possibility of the phantom scenario. Even under highly controlled conditions, the sensors were foolproof enough to register any significant movement. Then there was the clerical illusion theory. Some speculated that perhaps the vault's records were in error from the very start, a situation where the funds had never truly been deposited as recognized. This theory, however, was quickly dispelled by the fact that multiple independent records, including photographs, meticulous audit logs, and insurance documents, confirmed the vault's contents as they had been recorded just 1 year prior. The documentation was clear and consistent, leaving little room for a simple clerical mistake. Media outlets, ever hungry for an intriguing headline, jumped on every emerging theory, questioning whether hidden technology or undiscovered loopholes in the vault's security might have played a role in its silence. Every proposed explanation carried a hint of plausibility, yet ultimately none could account for every known fact. Each theory, though compelling to its own degree, was ultimately unsustainable when measured against the unyielding evidence of a vault that was as secure as it was mysteriously empty. With each passing day, the layers of speculation only added to the allure of the mystery, inviting both experts and enthusiasts to debate what could possibly have happened in a system designed to be unbreakable. As the investigation wound down, one undeniable truth emerged. The mystery of the vanishing vault is not merely about missing money. It's a puzzle that challenges conventional wisdom and leaves a lasting mark on the annals of unsolved crimes. The untouched security systems, the immaculate logs, and the absence of any clear breach all combine to create a case that continues to perplex experts and amateurs alike. The silence of that empty vault speaks louder than any confession or piece of physical evidence ever could. This mystery urges us to question our assumptions about security and trust. Even systems built to be virtually impenetrable can sometimes harbor vulnerabilities or be subject to circumstances so unusual that they defy logical explanation. As we reflect on the events at the First Commonwealth Bank, it becomes clear that every hardened procedure can have its hidden gaps, and every well-kept secret can eventually demand to be heard. The floor is now open for you. What do you think really happened with Vault C? How could an impenetrable system end up revealing nothing at all? Share your thoughts and theories in the comments and join the ongoing conversation about one of American history's most baffling financial mysteries. Remember, staying curious and questioning the obvious can sometimes unveil truths that are even more mysterious than fiction.